Hi, today I'm addressing syllabus number 5A through D from Unit 1, which is base units, and base unit conversions. Alright, so first, what makes up a measurement? So measurements are made up of two things. First is the quantity of the amount being measured, which is relative to the second thing. And this is represented by a numerical value. So for example, if something is 3 seconds long, if you're measuring time, it's represented by 3 sec. Say we have like you're measuring the weight of something, it's like 5 kilograms. The first number is showing how many kilograms, which would just be 5. Um, the second is the unit of measurement, which is dependent on what is being measured and the scale at which it is being measured. And additionally, this is dependent on what scale. As I said, an example of this would be like Celsius versus Fahrenheit. So like the quantity of the amount being measured changes. Say like the boiling point for Celsius is 100 degrees Celsius, but for Fahrenheit it is let me find out real quick. It's 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So obviously those are two very different numbers, showing why what unit of measurement you are using is so important. Alright, so an example of this would be length is measured by meters, time is s for seconds, and mass is kg for kilograms. But the scale is also essential. So depending on how specific or how generalized you are attempting to measure, say for example time, the unit changes. Um, if you're attempting to be like super specific, say like it could be like milliseconds for measuring who won in a super close race, you're measuring with milliseconds. Or like say compared to baking, which you'll usually measure in minutes because nobody wants to time like baking a cake by the second. Um, so there is a problem since different places measure things in different ways. Like temperature is measured as Fahrenheit in the US, but in places like Europe, it's Celsius. And to address this problem, we use the International System of Units, or SI. And in this system, there are 7 base units that are universally agreed upon to ensure consistency and accuracy worldwide. So the 7 base units are length, represented by m for meters, mass, represented by kg for kilograms, time, represented by s for seconds, electric current, represented by A for ampere, temperature, represented by K for Kelvin, amount of substance, represented by mole for mole, and luminous intensity, represented by CD for candela. Alright, so the SI system, it additionally uses prefixes to represent small or large quantities of the base units that um, it changes by factors of 10 in order. The mnemonic device that most people use for this is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. The first letter of each word is the first letter of each base unit in order from the biggest base unit to the smallest one. So like for example, as we see on this chart, um, from from kilo to milli, it goes King Henry died by base unit drinking deci chocolate centi milk milli, and then from say from the base unit point, if you go up, or it would be left in the word here, but if you go up, you times the base unit by 10 because that means there are that means that this base unit is 10 times as small as this prefix. So we have some examples on the side here. So 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram, as we see here. The base units here, 1. If we go up to kilograms, we get 1,000 grams. And another one here, if we're trying to turn grams into milligrams, if it's 100 grams, say there's 100 right here, then there is, if we go down to milligrams right here, there's 0.001 milligrams in 1 gram. So to get to 1 gram from here, you would times it by 1,000. And since there's 100 grams, you would do 1,000 times 100 to get 1 million. Okay, so here's some practice problems. If we're converting 5 kilometers to meters, and using our chart, we can see that 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. We would do 5 kilometers. So 5 times 1,000, since there's 1,000 meters and 1 kilometer, and that would get you 5,000 meters. Here, we're converting 250 millimeters to centimeters, and using our chart, we can see that 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. So we take the 250 millimeters, we divide it by 10 millimeters, since there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter, and we get an answer of 25 centimeters. Alright, and then for the third question, we have 0.75 grams to milligrams, and we know that 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. Using our chart, which you will have memorized, and you could just be using the mnemonic device, King Henry died by chocolate milk at this point. And to solve this, since we know that there's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram, we would just times the 0.7 grams we have times 1,000 to get 750 milligrams. Also, going back to the chart, there are other prefixes that go beyond the mnemonic device. So there's giga, which is, I believe it to be 1 billion base units. Then there's mega, which is 1 million. And then we have micro and nano. So as we see over here, this is 10 to the negative 6 base units. And then this one's 10 to the negative 9 base units.